What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the two Dum Yinzers. This is episode 235. This is Thursday morning. What's up, Michael?
What up, B?
What
Oh
up,
man,
man?
I'm
What up?
happy to be here.
Yes, we escaped. We escaped the big storm, Mike. Apparently, the other night when we went to bed on Tuesday, we were expected to have a blizzard come through. And you know what? That never really happened. We got a little snow yesterday morning,
Yeah.
covered the ground, but it was gone by the time that the afternoon came around. So I think we dodged a bullet. Was there? Did anybody else get the big snow, or was it just?
It was great, man. It like blew north of us. I
Is that
love
what
it.
happened?
Yeah, I was looking at the map and I'm like, I am glad I no longer live in Sandusky because it looks like they got hit right up on the lake. And it's like,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
happy I don't live there anymore.
it was cool because, like I said, we totally missed it. We got, like I said, a little covering yesterday morning. Was
Hmm.
barely nothing, and then when it was time for the kids to get home from school, it was basically already melted and gone. And I like getting that drawing that straw whenever it comes to snow.
Oh, me too. Like I love watching the weather report. I love watching it come in, and then I see winds changed, score. Don't have to deal with it. But in the back of my mind is like, I kind of want to deal with it at least for a day,
You like
just a
that
day.
snow?
Yeah, just because like by the time I would get home from work, since I work, you know, at 3 in the morning, I get done by like 8:30. I'm home by like 9:30. It's great. I don't. My day's done, so I get to sit there and watch and out the window, watch it accumulate, and just like, yeah, I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to go anywhere now. Perfect for me.
Yeah. No, it worked out good. Hopefully you get your snow. You get your snow for you, but a couple things, Mike. There must be some kind of bandit around here. Well, I'm going to ask you first before I go on.
Okay.
Do you know where your head is? But what I mean, do you know where
Oh, the
your
dummy head. Yeah,
yes.
last time I was there because that little shelf he sits on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one of the little elves at the studio pointed to, and it fell off, and I got distracted and never picked it back up.
Okay. So it's okay, it's
Yeah,
around.
yeah. I saw I was decapitated. I think I was just distraught and put it out of my mind and just.
And of course, we have these dummies here at the studio, and the head of Mike's dummy came missing. And I just got a little concerned because after last week, after my Friday pen came missing, I wasn't sure what to think. But if Mike
the
says it
pen,
just
the
fell,
pen and the head are all together. It's
yeah,
I
somebody
don't want
took
to
the
know
pen
what happens at the studio when I'm not
and
there.
the
I'm kind of
head,
afraid.
and they ran and left for Canada, never to be seen again.
You know what? I would watch that movie. That would be like a great, great Pixar movie.
The pen and the head and the pen.
The head in the pen. I think it would. I think it would be fun. I'd watch it.
Yeah, you would be like the head would be like that big. What was the Pixar movie? The monsters, right? That's Pixar.
Yeah, yeah. The monsters.
Yeah.
See now we're just like combining all the different
A couple
companies.
other
We're gonna get
couple other
sued.
things I did before. I want to talk about before we get going.
Mm-hmm.
I um I came across a new problem in life,
Oh God.
and I saw you briefly the other morning, and you might have seen my problem yesterday morning.
I
I
can't
was
wait to.
at the bus stop like I usually am in the
Uh
morning,
huh.
and well, the neighbor across the street,
Mm-hmm.
he's talking, and and I'm just trying to do what I got to do to get through the morning and get back to the house. And
Yeah.
well, he then mentions in conversation, he says, "Well, when I went to school in Monaca, which is the school that I went to,"
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Oh, you went to Monaca?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How old are you?" And he said 42. 43 is what he said. I said,
Huh.
"Oh, wow. What's your name?" And he went and said his name. And I was like, "Oh." No, I didn't really remember. I remembered him, but I didn't know him when we were in
Yeah.
school. And To make a long story short, he's a talker.
Mm-hmm.
And when I seen you the other day, it was snowing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm at the bus stop, and the kids go. 45 minutes later, when I come into the house, Mike, I was like a fucking abominable snowman. I had snow stacked on my hat. My pants were soaked from, and it wasn't a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
It was very one way. And every time I tried to sneak in and give him the okay, well I got to okay, it was almost like a key to start a new story.
I like it.
Now that's not hardly the problem. He likes to talk, whatever. That's fine. Now the issue, the burden is trying to figure a way out around it.
Yeah.
He can talk all he wants, as long as I'm not. The thing is, he's very hard to pull away from. If that wasn't
Yeah.
the case, and I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but the guy, he got some pipes, man. He's long-winded,
Yeah. I see. This is why I try to avoid talking to people.
and I do
Like
too.
the less people I know, the better.
Yeah.
Like
So I don't know.
it takes a lot for me to like want to sit there and like talk to people, even like really close friends. Like if I have something to
Yeah,
do, like, I don't want to talk to you. I may have known you my entire life, been great friends, but if I don't want to
but you're
talk, I don't want to talk.
you're doing what you're doing now, and you got things to do. You got things on your mind,
Yeah.
and it just kept
But
going.
I
Like I
get
said,
it though. I get it. You know, you haven't seen each other in forever. Blah
no,
blah
I've
blah.
never seen the thing was, Mike. Like I said, we weren't friends.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like I recall him being 2 grades behind me,
Mm-hmm.
and the only reason I remember is from Little League. I could remember Little League, and he was a pitcher on the one team, and like I said, not even a friend, but he's not a bad guy. I don't want to give him the wrong impression that I don't
Yeah.
like him. I just don't want to stand there and get 4 inches of snow piled on me while I'm listening to stories for 45 additional minutes at the bus stop.
I get it. I get it. I see where you're coming from.
So
Oh, that is great though. That is great. I think everyone has been in that situation. Probably like on both ends. Like you're sitting there talking to someone, thinking the conversation's going great. They get inside like, oh, you're not gonna believe this.
yeah,
Here's who I ran into. They would not shut up.
yeah. And if I brought him up to any of my friends
Mm-hmm.
or anybody that I knew, they probably wouldn't remember him either. Like I said,
Yeah.
I kind of just remember him from baseball, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I almost have to go out of my back of the house, and
You gotta go in like flanking maneuvers to avoid
flanking
your neighbor.
maneuvers. I got to go through the snow. I got to fight off dogs just to get up to the bus stop. That's extra far for me to walk. But you know what? It's going to be worth it, because if I have to do all that, I save 40 minutes of my time, and I'm able to get back to the studio and start working.
No,
But
what if they see you further down the street and they go
well,
walking
as
up
long
to
as he
it?
can't talk to me, I guess we're okay. I mean, I could give him the wave. And if and the,
Or
the only thing that I have to accomplish, Mike, is avoiding him for the rest of my life. So I mean, it's not like it's that big of a
it's
deal,
not that
right?
big of a deal. Or what you can do is you can send him like the first 8 minutes of this episode.
Yeah,
It was like, hey man, you got to watch my new podcast, and you just want to watch this episode right here, but like the first 10 minutes.
yeah. And he's a neighbor. Now he knows I'm a neighbor. You know what I mean? Before I didn't know he was a neighbor. What they used to do is they would go up to the next bus stop
Mm-hmm.
and sit in the van. They have a van. They have like 100 kids. There's got to be 100 kids that comes
No,
pouring
he
out of
was
that
in the
house.
van down by the river. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's in the van, and he's usually at the other bus stop, the one that I'm thinking about turning to now.
Yeah.
So I never had to see the guy before. Just as of 2 days ago, the morning that you've seen the guy was the first time that I've ever ran into him. And so, like I said, as long as I can avoid him for the rest of my life, I'll be fine.
For this actually brings me like great pleasure, because it's something like it's you being miserable
Yeah.
for a change, not me. I kind of like it. I
I think I figured out your problem.
What's
anyway.
that?
Well, you started this diet recently, and I know that when people go on diets, they just get, I don't know, you're not the same. You're not happy.
I am happy.
I mean,
I am, yeah, because it's like
don't you love delicious
I
food?
do love. See, that's why like I like ground turkey. To me, like once I cook it in like I get like the ground turkey like hot sausage or sweet sausage, so it has a nice kick to it. So it's not a bland. I know how to cook with seasoning, so I like it. I like the food. The food tastes good. Like I still can eat
I'm just
like
thinking,
like I can eat like the fake eggs or like the Bob Evans beaters. They taste just fine, just like regular eggs. I like it. I still cut up my, you know, my potatoes, my onions, my green
You eat
peppers.
tofu
Oh
eggs?
God, no. No, just the egg whites. But they're dyed yellow, so it looks like a real egg. So you're not like as
Yeah.
depressed. So no, it's good, man. And I had this diet before. I liked it then. I like it now.
I got my eye on you. I got a close eye on you. I got to make sure you're all
All
right.
right.
Because if I don't make sure you're right, who's going to make sure you're all
That's
right?
true. That's true. Not my kid, because my kid, just decides, he doesn't want to talk to me. He just gives me orders of what to go get him.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
So anyway, Mike, we got some things going on here. We had a big, and I'm not talking about big, I'm talking about a huge hockey game on Tuesday night, Mike, between the Florida Panthers. They come to town to play the Penguins, and this game wasn't just no ordinary game. Now, I want to say the score finished up being 7-6. It was an overtime win for the Penguins. We got 2 points, and that puts us in a pretty good spot tonight. We were fighting. We'll get into that in a minute for that first wild card spot. But on Tuesday night, Mike, we had a return from a big contributor, and boy, did he contribute. They Chris Letang's who we're talking about now. He missed 11 games. He had all kind of issues, a lot of things going on. Nobody, that's fine. Do your thing, brother. But he came back and he played like the guy we needed to come back and played.
We needed him.
He was the first star of the game, which was great. But let's talk about some of the things he did, Mike. He scored 2 goals. He had 2 assists, total of 4 points. Only that's his fifth time of his career that he's got 4 points in a game. He played for 26 minutes and 29 seconds.
Not bad playing for just about half the game. Your first day back after missing 11 games due to personal issues and lower body injuries. Rather impressive.
And Mike, he also, by the night that he had 1 power play goal, 1 power play assist, 1 even strength goal, 1 even strength assist, and 1 overtime. He had the game-winning goal, which is the first blue liner in the history of the NHL to have that line.
That's not bad. That's not bad when you score that many points in a game and do it in a unique fashion to where you're the only one.
Mike, could this be this little bit of energy, this little bit of motivation? Now look what they did. They were able to come out and they that was a shootout. It was 7-6. Like I said, final score. They went to overtime 6s, and Letang, maybe getting him back is going to be a good thing for this team, and just go to fire under the guys' asses and help them continue to move in the right direction, because tonight we got a showdown. We have a showdown in Washington, and we play the Capitals. We're tied in 4th place. We're playing for that first wild card spot. 7:00 tonight. The Capitals are 25-19-6, and the Penguins, they're 24-15-8. So this game is going to be huge. So this Letang boost, Mike.
Yeah,
I hope that we could ride this out for a little while. What do you think,
me too. I hope so, but we are without Jari until after the All-Star break.
Yes,
so that's huge right there. So that puts more pressure on DeSmith and backup. Smith's backup. I'm hoping Letang was playing like the Letang of old the other night.
Yes,
flying down the ice. He's
amazing, man. It looked great.
Talk about a minutes eater. So that that's going to help you. Him playing all those minutes, that's going to limit the ice time of the bottom pair, so they don't get overexposed. They're able to manage their minutes better. Dumoulin, who's been struggling all year, has now if I read it right, him and Letang are being reunited. They're going to be on that top pair again. Hopefully, that will provide Dumoulin having Letang back, Letang playing the way he has, this nice stabilizing effort, and Dumoulin to where he doesn't have to try and do too much. He can hopefully find his game to be one of the better lockdown defenders in this league that he was for a good stretch of his career. When we were winning those back-to-back cups, my man was shutting down everyone. So if Letang's performance can increase, and hopefully that will help Dumoulin's. I'm just so happy to have Letang back in the way he's playing.
Yes.
Because, can I go off on a rant here for a minute?
Please.
Chris Letang, 3-time Stanley Cup winner. Why does he always get crapped on by the fans and the media in this town? If he has a bad game, it becomes made out to be the worst game in NHL history. Whereas compare this to someone across town who's never won anything, who's played in 7 playoff games, has what, 2 wins, 3 wins? Cam Hayward, beloved by the fans and the media, can do no wrong. Letang, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, can only do wrong in this town. Can someone explain it to me? Can someone make it make sense? One's a champion, one is not.
I got to be completely honest with you. I've never badmouthed Chris Letang ever. I've always just found him to be a solid part of that team,
Mhm.
and and you talk about the nucleus, the core of this team with Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. I've always just kind of bunched them three together and said, you know what, as long as we got these three, we're going to be an okay team.
Yeah.
And then you bring other players around it. But no, I've heard this as well. I'm not real sure what the stink is about, because there really is no reason at all for people in
Like,
Pittsburgh to be bad mouthing Chris Letang.
no, like when he has a bad game, I have no problem saying, like, Letang, you played a bad game. The decisions you make help contribute to the loss. I have no problem with that, because I have no problem saying he played a great game. Same thing with, like, I have no problem criticizing Cam Hayward, but I also have no problem praising him when he does well. This town, the fans and the media, it frustrates me when someone who is a champion, who has contributed to championships, gets demonized constantly, where someone who's never contributed to a championship gets praise after praise after praise. And then, like, the great people always go to Letang, like, well, they won that one cup without him. You mean that one Stanley Cup where he played lights out all the way through, and we got lucky that we were able to steal Trevor Daley, and then Jacques Martin had one of the greatest defensive coaching jobs in Stanley Cup playoff history, managing those minutes perfectly, where the team played great defensive hockey all the way around. But tell you what, they don't make the playoffs that year without Letang.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy, he's a huge contributor in this team. I just feel bad for him, man. Like, this town never, it's like there's always that vocal segment of the fans and the media that just want to criticize him and never want to give him his due.
I like Tanger. I
do too. Like, if you don't like Tanger, there's something wrong with you.
Here's the thing about Letang. I mean, these guys, like Pascal Dupuis, he was having some blood clot issues, and he hung it up. And guys you see that have these issues. Chris Letang is a gamer. This guy, he has 2 strokes. He's going through some hardship, his losing people in his family. And you know what? This guy, he muscles it out. I like this kind of guy. I like the tough guy. It's always kind of been my guy. And I like that. I like the fact that he fights through all that, comes back, and as productive as can be. Like I said, that game was as good as game as you're going to get from a defensive player in the NHL. I like him. I always like Chris Letang. I don't know what people's problems are. And if you got a problem with Chris Letang, then maybe you got more issues, because the guy's done great things here since he's been here. I mean, he's been here for, all these cups, all these runs. I don't get it either, Mike. I don't know. I wish somebody would explain that a little bit more, because
me too.
It makes no sense.
It's just frustrating, because I was thinking about that, like, after the game, and then all day yesterday, just like stuff reading about Letang. Like how can you hate this guy? Like, people, like, legit, like, oh, he's a bum, he's worthless, blah blah blah. They don't need him. I don't get it. This guy, he's a gamer. When he's on, he's on. Yeah, I think he had like 1 year where it's like, oh god, like, he just could not get it together. But yeah, he runs through stretches where things don't go well. That happens to every player that plays 80 some odd games a year. Like, Crosby will have spells where he's not scoring. Malkin will go through stretches where he's not scoring, playing poorly. It happens to every player in the league, and it just seems like it gets magnified. That's the thing.
It happens to every player that plays any sport. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? One interesting statistic I do like, Mike, the other night when Gino, Sid, and Letang did score in that game against Florida, Mike, it was the 12th time that all three of those fellas scored in one game. In those 12 games, they're 11-0-1.
Well, why don't they just score together all the time? What are these bums doing? They would have 18 Stanley Cups if they would score
Letang's
all
a bum,
Yeah, it's all Letang and Fleury. It's all their fault.
Yes.
I just love, like, when Fleury left town, like, everyone just come out of the water. Oh yeah, we always supported him. Like, no, you didn't. I know people who personally, like, hated Flower. And then when he left, like, oh, I can't believe they let him go. I'm like, that's not what you said last week.
His first couple years were frustrating, but you know what? That was as worse as it got. You know what? And he got so much better, on a lot of these dumb things. But he was a young goalie. He got so much better. And over time, he became, and it still is one of the premier goalies, even though he's older now. His numbers say that he's one of the better goalies of all time. So
He's still what top 2, top 3, like top 3 in wins or something like
right.
that.
That's what
Top
I'm
2. I
saying.
haven't
So,
looked at the stat. I know he's getting close, but
with the
he's
exception of
gonna.
those first two and a half seasons, anything after that, if you thought he
Yeah,
was a bum, you're crazy.
yeah. And how many times like he was left out to dry?
Yeah. And how many times he saved a team when he was left out to
Yeah,
dry? Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think there was like that one playoff though where he really did collapse. Like, okay, yeah, you can blame that one on Flower, but the other ones, man, that was a total team effort. Some of those
Yeah,
losses,
he was a beast, man.
and like
I
him,
think
Letang, Beast. You know, I don't know. I just don't get it. I think it's because they're French Canadian.
you think.
Well, that's why like a lot of the hockey media really doesn't like Lemieux because he's French Canadian.
Hmm.
They don't like French Canadians. That's my
Figure
conspiracy. That's my conspiracy anyway. I'm not from Canada. I
you
don't
think
know
the
anyone from
French
Canada.
Canadians would be safe just because it's a Canadian sport, and
Yeah, but they're different, man.
it isn't like there's French Canadians playing in the football league, and people can say, "Oh, look
I
at
don't
this
know,
guy."
man. I just don't think they don't like French Canadians. I don't know.
Hmm.
It seems to be like the stereotype. Like they all hate French Canadians. Like there's some of the shows I watch, like the villains are always French Canadians.
Or
If they're from
English. They got
Canada,
that
so
English, yeah, some kind of accent.
yeah.
Mike, also from this game, it was the reverse retro jersey night. Your favorite, and it's the last one of the season, Mike. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. However, the final record in the 9 games that they did wear the reverse retro jerseys from the 1992 season, Mike, it is 6-2-1, 6-2-1. So while wearing those jerseys, they did fare fairly well, even though we're not big fans of them. But Mike, we are done with the reverse retro jerseys for the season.
They should be done. And hey, just because we had a winning record with them, so did we the first time we wore them. Then we lost in the first round to the Islanders.
Yeah. Oh man,
I hate
Mike,
those
the
jerseys.
Pitt Panthers. Let me go back real quick. So tonight,
Mhm.
everybody, big game, big game. If you like the Penguins, if you're following the Penguins, you love hockey. 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock tonight in Washington. You get to see all them boys down there in Washington, all the familiar faces. It's gonna be a big one tonight. Penguins at Capitals, 7 o'clock.
That's gonna be a game right there, boys.
Pitt's back in the back. Not Pitt is back in action last night at the Pete.
Pitt is
Mike,
back in the nut. What?
they had Wake Forest, who was 14-6 coming into the game. They take Pitt all the way down to the end. Pitt wins this one 81-79 with Kenny Pickett in the house. Kenny and a couple of the linemen were sitting there at the game. Ended up being a lot closer than what it should be. You know what? On the other hand, they're both sitting there at 14-7 today. So maybe it shouldn't have been. Maybe that was a good game. That was a good game for for Pitt. It was Wake Forest. We have Miami now. Miami's coming to town on Saturday, 4 o'clock. They're number 20 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Who we're all bunched right there in the in that part of the conference. I think we're third. We're tied for third, something like that. So there's a lot of things going on within the conference, Mike, for this Pitt basketball team. So winning this game against Wake Forest is big. If they come out Saturday and beat Miami, that's going to be huge because, the time's not getting any further till the March Madness. We got to start pulling it together and winning some of these games that we've been dropping. And I think getting that 81-79 win over Wake Forest yesterday was pretty big, Mike.
Yeah, like any win over anyone. It's a nice palate cleanser. Resets you. You're like, all right, we can do this. We haven't forgotten how to win. And like you said, man, get this upset win over Miami. And just keep it rolling throughout, man. You got Miami and then at North Carolina, even though they're not ranked right now. So any win over North Carolina, it's always good. Always good when you can beat those historic powerhouses.
Absolutely. It was a pretty exciting atmosphere.
Yeah.
Seemed like the zoo was really going crazy. Like I said, you got Steelers there. You had celebration of the 35 anniversary, the broken backboard. It was all kind of stuff going on down at the Pete last night. So hopefully, like I said, they can carry it over, Mike, because Saturday's a big game. Number 20 in the land, Miami will be at the Pete on Saturday, 4 o'clock.
Let's go Pitt. Never hear me say that, but let's go Pitt.
Mike, also a couple other things. It is 3 months and 1 day from the draft.
I can't wait.
3 months and 1 day.
Draft's in Kansas City this year, I believe.
Kansas City. There's a couple guys, Mike, I want to ask you about. A couple names that I've seen over the past 2 days here that could be possible.
Oh, God.
Targets of the Steelers.
Asking players I haven't even heard of before. I'm going to have to scramble on this one.
All right. You ready to scramble?
Let's do this.
So John Michael Schmidt from Minnesota. He's an inside offensive linebacker, primarily a center.
Offensive linebacker.
Offensive lineman. An inside offensive lineman. It's how it's
So
listed.
Interior.
No, that's what inside
John Michael
interior.
Schmidt. He's the number 1 rated center.
So there's a lot of talk, Mike. There was talk about him, and then also a gentleman from Illinois, a cornerback named Devin Witherspoon, are the two that I want to talk about today.
Yes,
Devin Witherspoon. Is that name familiar?
Yeah, Devin. He's where's he at in corners? He's pretty high up there in corners, if I remember correctly. Witherspoon. Yeah.
And there was talk about possibly trading up to get. Here's the thing: we have so many needs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't compromise my picks because we have good picks. We're getting 3 in the first 50. And they were talking about possibly trading up and you lose one of those picks or you compromise it because you're trying to get up but there's not one particular player that we're looking at. And we need corner, we need linemen, we need inside linebackers, we need this, we need that. So I and again, I'm not the general manager, but you wouldn't think you would compromise your picks at this point because you could get 3 really good picks for those 3 positions, right? Just from your picks. Otherwise, you trade up to get the really, that one big name, which, I don't know who it would be at this point. I know they like Joey Porter Jr. I know there's a couple other guys, but I don't think
that tackle out of Northwestern.
Northwestern, yes.
Yeah, there's talk about like him trading like swapping the first and offering up pick 49, the second round pick, flopping that to the Texans is the rumor I read.
What would you do? Would you pull something like that?
If I'm really in love with a guy, like this is the guy I want. If I think he's going to be my franchise left tackle, I'm going to go ahead and pull that trigger because he's not going to fall down to 17. No, if he's sitting there hovering around like that Houston pick is still on the board, I'm calling up Houston. Like, hey, do you want to move down, gain another pick?
Do you think
pick 32 is off the board? You can't have that. We'll give you this other second round, and you want to pick next year later in the draft. Get a little package together and move up and get your left tackle. If you think he's going to be your franchise left tackle, and you think Kenny Pickett's going to be your franchise quarterback, I'm going and getting my guy, and I'll put him there.
You think we had to go for?
But if you think, hey, you know what, we can survive with Dan Moore for another year. Or, hey, there's someone in free agency coming up. We get him before the draft. We're going to get him after draft. But then you're looking, okay, hey, man, Mason Cole did all right at center, but we want to upgrade center. Or Dawson did okay at center. Okay, or at guard, you have the kid from Florida, Osiris. Oh, God, I forget his name. But, yeah, he's the number 1 guard. If he's sitting there, that center's sitting there, okay, pick one there. Then we drop down to 32. There's still going to be a good corner there.
Absolutely.
There's still going to be if you want to upgrade nose tackle, Siki Ika should be sitting there. The big stud defensive tackle from Washington. He should be sitting there. Okay, so boom. I just upgraded my center or my guard position. I upgraded my defensive line at nose tackle. Where do you win? You win the games in the trenches. That's right there. Cool. Then you drop down to pick 39. There's still going to be a decent corner there because it's looking like it's stacking up to be a pretty good corner draft. So you get one of those guys there too. Boom, you upgraded 2 positions of need. I don't have a problem with that at all. But for these 2 right here, I wouldn't trade up to get the center. I wouldn't trade up to get the corner. I would only trade up to get one of the left tackles.
Yeah, we definitely got to get that left tackle. You got to solidify your line. A lot of time you either do that with the center or your left tackle, and that's big. But like you said, Mike, I think that sitting at the positions we're sitting, I think there's going to be ample players. And even if you get your guy at that 3rd pick or the 2nd pick, I mean, these are still damn good football players. You don't have to get the very best. I mean, you want the very best available, but you know what? I think with the 3 picks that we have, I think our draft's going to be good. On top of, we're going to be hitting free agency as well. So, I mean, we might be getting, top, some good, decent players in from free agency. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, Mike. I really can. It's like I said, 3 months in one day. 3 months in one day.
Like this
draft weekend.
Yeah. Like Witherspoon, like he's like the number 6 rated corner right now.
Yeah.
That's all going to change. So if you can land him in the 2nd round and with one of your 2nd round picks, I would do that and maybe
We could
get
have
that center in the first
multiple
round.
Witherspoons back there.
Yeah, you can get that center. You can get the center. Get a better guard at 17. Like people like or I've seen people complaining like why would the Steelers want a lineman in the first round? Just because it's not a sexy pick, not a sexy position, doesn't mean it's
It's your
it's not
most
important. It
important,
is
though.
very important. We have gone years without taking a lineman in the first round. Like the Steelers tend to do pretty well when they take a lineman in the first round. DeCastro, Pouncey, Faneca, they tend not to miss with linemen. And we passed on Creed Humphreys, we passed on Tyler Lindbaum. We might want to go ahead and draft that center. It sounds weird, but Pittsburgh has always been known for damn good centers. Mike
Yeah,
Webster,
absolutely.
DeMarty Dawson, Ray Mansfield. If you go
Not used to
go
having a
further
bad
back.
center.
Yeah, like Justin Hartwick was a very good center. So center's like a very key position on this team. You get it. You get that anchor, man. I wouldn't mind going center, and if there's still a damn good guard sitting there at 32, take him right there. Upgrade that offensive line.
So we do. I don't recall which day free agency starts, but we got free agency. We have the draft.
Mhm.
Shortly after that, a short while after that, we have camp starting in the summertime. So we're gonna. Yeah, here we are, Mike. We're already in the next
Yeah.
season, and they haven't played the Super Bowl yet.
Yeah, and like that John Michael Schmitz, he's average overall, like in the 48th overall player.
Okay.
Let's say he slips down to 32. Take him there.
Yeah.
Shit, imagine like you trade pick 49 up to 12, get the left tackle, 32, sit there, get your center. You upgraded your offensive line. I would not be opposed to that at all.
I like it. Like I said, I'm between free agency and the drafts. I think we're going to fill all of our positions.
Oh yeah,
and I think
it's going to be interesting to see like what Omar Khan does.
Yes, absolutely.
His first time running
Omar
the show,
Khan
man.
draft. It's going to be a lot of fun, Mike. I can't wait. I think a lot of people were right there with us. Mike, also, let's see. A couple guys we signed over the past couple of days for those future contracts.
Mm-hmm.
We signed a receiver from the Vikings, Dan Chesina.
Mm-hmm.
And also another future contract was a guy that we had before who got picked up by the Giants, Quincy Roche. Is that how you say his last name?
Quincy Roche.
And now he's an edge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, those are a couple of guys that we signed within the past 2 days back on the
Roche, he's bounced around. He played a little here and there, but he's mostly a practice squad guy. So it's someone that the Steelers are familiar with. That's typical what they do. Is either if they lose someone they try to hide on the practice squad, they'll bring them back in, or someone they wanted to draft who they weren't able to get in the draft, but they have that history with through the process. They like to bring them back in to see if there's something there. And this is what it is, man. You're like you said, you future contracts, get them in the training camp, see if there's something there.
Absolutely.
And depth at the outside linebacker position, we need it. So let's throw whatever we can at the wall and see if one of these guys sticks.
Mike, do you want to hear an interesting number? Speaking of inside linebackers, you want to hear this?
Yeah.
You better sit down.
I'm sitting.
Here we go. You're going to shit yourself. The Steelers' inside linebackers this season, Mike, produced 0 fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries, and 0 interceptions, which you're not going to ask from your linebackers a lot, but it happens. They get the ball bouncing around the middle of the field.
Patrick Queen and the other inside linebacker, the Ravens, that loss, man, they both had them.
Exactly. They usually make the big ones. The ones that count in crunch time, that's bouncing around or comes out of somebody's hand and they're there. Mike, our inside linebackers last season produced no fumbles, no fumble recoveries, and no interceptions. Mike, that needs to be addressed. And obviously, it will be addressed. I don't believe Devin Bush will be here next season. I think Myles Jack will be the guy. Whether somebody comes here for free agency, whatever we do, hopefully it's a better situation. But that has to improve, Mike. That has to improve.
It has to. You have to be able to get those inside linebackers, especially in the 3-4, man. You have to be able to some type of splash play, man. You're covering the tight end. You're covering that middle part of the zone. You should be able, like you said, man, an interception every once in a while will be nice.
Strip somebody when there's a gang of guys tackling somebody.
Yeah.
Strip the ball. What are you doing in there,
Yeah, like Myles Jack and Devin Bush, man, these are two guys that should be making high impact plays, and they weren't.
I look for Devin. I'm sorry, not Devin. I believe he won't be here, but Miles Jack, I think he will be making some bigger plays next year. Yeah, and it's going to come down to a lot of different things. I think that the defense is going to be played different next year. I think that this year we were chasing our tail through the first half of the season, and like we said on Tuesday, Brian Flores and the defensive coaches, they got this team from number 32 to excuse me to the top 10. So I think that you're going to see the defense play a little bit differently this year. And Miles Jack does need to make improvements in those areas. And Miles Jack also needs to drive people back on tackles. There's a lot of times he's going backwards. One of your inside guys has to be able to drive people back. You can't have two undersized guys getting pushed 30 yards down the field. Yeah. So I think when we get somebody different in there, whether it be the guy from Buffalo, Philadelphia, whoever it is, hopefully we could bring that together, because that inside, and a lot of time, like, we're getting burnt on those run plays. It was runs right through the middle of the interior line.
Oh, yeah.
And that second layer wasn't there. Where's our linebackers at? So that needs to improve drastically.
Needs to improve. And I just looking up Miles Jack's contract. He's due for $11 million next year.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You gotta start.
And dead cap space is $325. So it wouldn't surprise me if they move on from both middle linebackers and try and start fresh.
That'll be rough.
Yeah, but if you can get two guys for that are cheaper but they can actually that you expect to be better in the long run, I
just remember Miles Jack being a hammer down in Jacksonville, and I didn't see that this year. Maybe it's the new environment. Maybe, but like I said, if he's around next year, he has to improve, and he has to do those things a little bit better. Because, like I said, you've seen the results of what happens if those inside linebackers aren't making that impact on the game.
Yeah, if they can improve that front three, and if they can actually eat up blockers, man, that way they're not having to constantly fight off guards.
Right.
You would hope they would be more impactful too.
Like no, yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I don't know why I added the 2 there at the end.
Brian Flores, he interviewed with the Vikings yesterday for their defensive coordinator job. Again, this is probably going to be somebody else that won't be around come fall. But, we wish Brian Flores the best. I like this guy. You didn't know what was going on with him coming in. He had there was the controversy, things going on, down in Miami. I thought, what is, and you know what? Flores did nothing but good things when he came here. So I wish Mr. Brian Flores the best and hope he gets the best takes the best job opportunity there is for him out there, because, sometime you got to take what you earn, and he's deserving, man. So
heck yeah, he helped turn that defense around, man.
Big time. Also, Mike, one thing I did want to question you about. I seen that the ESPN analytics, you may or may not have seen this, has DJ, and of course I'm talking about Deontay Johnson, ranked 5. Okay. And the analytics at ESPN also has George Pickens ranked 15. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
That's why I don't really pay attention to those things, because what the fuck is that?
I don't see it. I
think DJ is ranked toilet paper. And George Pickens is certainly higher than that. So I've seen this and I thought, well, maybe Mike read something out of this that I didn't. Maybe he's seen
this is for wide receivers.
Yes, ESPN wide receiver analytics.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this one. Oh my God, he's up there with Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown. Tyler Lockett up there? I don't see that. And then Deontay Johnson. Then the next group down, like CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, I think he should be a little higher. Tyreek Hill.
He's better than Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. That's overall better than Tyreek Hill. They had getting open. They have him out as getting open, best at getting open. Him and Tyreek Hill.
Like I said, maybe there's something I didn't know.
Pickens, I give him that. They have him at 99. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't know.
They have Jamar Chase isn't even in the top overall. Or are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Jamar Chase, is the best receiver in the NFL. They don't have him up there.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
What
no
am I
disrespect to Tyler
reading?
Lockett, but well, like when it comes down to like people talking about the best receivers, it's usually like Diggs, Jefferson, and
What are you feeding
Jamar
us at
Chase.
ESPN?
Like, you can make these numbers look anything like you want, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I couldn't live with that in my life, just being the only person that knew this information. So
so
I wanted to
like
share it with everybody.
overall, it goes AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, Stephon Diggs, number 5, Deontay Johnson,
Bullshit. Excuse
6,
me.
George Kittle, the tight end, 7, T. Higgins, 8, Brandon Ayuk, 9, Chris Olave, 9 as well, Devontae Smith. They were tied. Then Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, CD Lamb, finally Jamar Chase at 14.
Unbelievable.
What?
I think they're smoking crack up there because that's unbelievable.
I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Did
Jamar Chase to me is the best receiver.
Did Jamar Chase not have any touchdowns this year? Did Jamar Chase run backwards when he caught every pass? See what I'm saying? It makes no sense. What are they
Yeah.
doing? They're just throwing shit together and putting it out there. Now
Yeah,
everyone's
like-
gonna be at work saying, you know what, you're wrong. DJ is number 5 on the all-time. ESPN says so.
Yeah,
So people believe this shit. Did you watch a game? Did you watch a Steeler game this year?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, they have like getting open Deontay Johnson 99. Oof. They do actually making the catch. He's his value is like a 56, so that's about right.
Yeah.
Yards after catch, his value is a 43. So those two track. But this is analytics, man. Sometimes they just make me scratch my head. Other times, like, they're very informative. Like,
Absolutely. And this is ESPN. I mean, you're sitting there thinking this is the best information that you could get.
I'm dumbfounded. I am dumbfounded. Like, I am obviously dumb, but I am like dumbfounded now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson are the 2 best receivers in the league.
Unbelievable, Mike.
Like, I get it. Jamar Chase didn't play the whole year, so you're using his numbers for this year and too. But still, like, the time that he played,
Jamar Chase's jockstrap did more than Deontay Johnson did last year. It caught more than Deontay Johnson. It carried more, I can tell you that.
Yeah, this is just wild.
My couple things other than this, football, we're not making our picks till tomorrow, but we do have 4 very special teams left that are going to be playing this weekend and try to go to the Super Bowl. Mike, I want to talk a minute with you about the NFC game. Now, when these 2 gentlemen played one another in college, when Purdy was at Iowa State and Jalen Hurts, of course, they played a game against one another where Jalen Hurts had 341 yards, 5 total touchdowns. Purdy had 337 yards and 6 total touchdowns. In a 42-41 loss, Purdy took the loss to Jalen. Mike, this game has potential to be a really good game. This NFC game on Sunday.
I hope so, man. Both defenses are amazing, but if both these quarterbacks can ball out like that, I'm excited
for these games. I am excited.
Like, see, I like a high scoring game, but I also love those hard hitting defensive struggles. But this one, I kind of want to see I just want to see these 2 just sling it around.
I do too,
because man.
What
Jalen Hurts can do. Like, dude impressed this year. I was totally wrong. I thought he was going to be like, oh, why are people talking this up, man? His first 2 years, he was terrible. Like, yeah, he tore it up at Oklahoma, but now watching him play, I'm like, I was wrong. Dude is legit. And wouldn't it be great, if Brock Purdy was like one of those guys who fell through the cracks of the whole evaluation process and just comes out and be in this legit guy, and they just go out there and they sling it back and forth like they're back in college. I would love it. I would love
2019, 42, Oklahoma 42, Iowa State 41. If this game is even a fraction as good as that game is, this game is going to be amazing. Plus, it's the pros. You got Brown and Philly. You got all these players, and then San Francisco with that whole team. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's just one game. You got the Bengals and the Chiefs on the other side, where the Bengals have beat the Chiefs consistently now, and the Chiefs can't get a win against them. And Mahomes is hurt. And I love it, Mike. I love it. I love it. It's championship weekend. Of course, teams are dwindling down. There's not as much football, but this should be the best football that you could pay for. I
Oh,
mean, this is the big times, man.
these should be two of the best games of the year.
Yes. And it's
And
there's not one team in there that's like, oh, these four teams deserve to be there. These four
yes,
teams are your four best teams, and you're going to get the two best that go to the Super Bowl.
I'm jazzed. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait for this round to begin.
Me too, Mike.
Oh,
I see that.
like earlier in the week, man,
that.
you were down on this. You were down on this. Now you're getting fired up into it, man.
Well, you just can't. You can't deny the talent. You're reading numbers, and you're like, this is good football. This is what it's all about. This is what you play for. You want to get to this point, and to have four teams. You don't have a Cinderella this time. You don't have a up and comer. These are your four best teams. No two ways about it. Last week, the other two got to play to see who would be the fourth best between Cincinnati and Buffalo. And guess what? Cincinnati came out on top of that one. They came out impressively, Mike. So these four games are the four teams, are the two games that you want to see this time of year. If your team's not in there and you want to see four teams play football that deserve to be going for the Super Bowl, these are them. These are them, Mike. I'm excited.
They are.
So, one more football thing. I'm going to jump, Mike. I'm going to jump from the NFL, and I'm going to go for one quick second because just yesterday and 2 days ago we talked about the Pittsburgh Maulers in the USFL. You'll see why I'm making the mistake here in a second. They had not only changed their colors to the traditional black and gold of the Pittsburgh area, they also are playing, Mike, they're playing their home games at Canton. They're playing their games at Hall of Fame Stadium.
I saw that.
Mike, I'm excited. I'm going to go. We had listeners contacting us through social media. A gentleman I talked to last night invited us to the game. He says, I'm a Pittsburgh guy, but I'm rooted here in Ohio. Be great to see you guys. If you can come up to a game, get a hold of me. People are getting excited about this Maulers team, Mike. I'm getting excited about this Maulers team. However, across the hall, you have a rival of this. You have another league who's fighting to be that number 2 league, the XFL. Now, the XFL, we have Hines Ward, who's going to be coaching. We have Rod Woodson that's going to be coaching. A lot of Pittsburgh ties. You're going to see guys that you recognize, names that you know, guys that – which one of these two leagues, Mike, do you look forward more to watching? And not for, a lot of people are going to say maybe the XFL because they're, who knows, the XFL, it's a little different. It always had something, a little different elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, what do you look forward watching to more? These two gentlemen we have here in Pittsburgh, Woodson and Hines Ward, in the XFL coaching, or do you look forward to the USFL and seeing these Maulers who's kind of getting a little bit of momentum and traction going? And like I said, football season's over. Maybe the folks here in Pittsburgh will take the trek up there an hour and a half and watch some of these games.
I'm more interested in the XFL.
Okay.
Like the last time they were out, I thought the product, it was one of the better run leagues that was not the NFL. Like the games were actually pretty good games to watch.
That went right into COVID, and you know what? I remember saying that with you.
Like that just, unfortunately, like ruined that league, man. Because those games, like people are like, we're talking about them, like, you know what? This isn't bad. Like they're enjoyable. We can sit down and watch the game and not be like, oh my god, this is so boring. It's like, hey, it's not bad. It's not the NFL, but it's football and it's competitive football and it was good. So I'm rooting for the XFL. I want to see this league succeed. I want to see the USFL succeed too, but I just have more ties to the XFL because I was there like when it first launched. I was through it again and watched this time. So I want to watch the third iteration of it. So I'm kind of just, I have more rooting interest in the XFL, and I just think the way that it was played going into like right before COVID hit, I thought the football was pretty good football. It was enjoyable to watch.
I can't agree more with you, Mike. I do recall having this conversation with you and many other people just talking about how good the XFL got the second time around. I am excited. If I have to pick one, I'm going to pick the USFL. I do have a little bit of a history with the Maulers. You know that. I've kind of been a fan when I was a kid. So I want to see them do really well. And like I said, it's a Pittsburgh team. It's going to give people the opportunity to take the drive up the turnpike and enjoy some of these games. And I hope people do that. But on the other hand, I'm pulling for the XFL too for all the reasons that you pointed out. I can't really say anything different. And I do want to see these gentlemen, Mr. Ward and Mr. Woodson, do great things being the coach. And like I said, you're going to see other names that you recognize along the way. I think last time we seen Martavis Bryant was in the XFL. I think, a couple other former Steelers that were pretty decent big names when they were here ended out there.
Yeah, I think he's playing again too. I think he's going to be back in the XFL.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you're getting
talk about
this guy was a
dude.
talent, Mike.
He was great. He got screwed over by the league, and then
Yes.
trying to crack down on all the pot stuff. That was some BS. Dude was a dynamic player.
Absolutely, man, and getting an opportunity to see him because he could have been something else. He could have been definitely a player in the NFL. So it isn't like you're getting high school talented guys in these leagues. You're getting guys that just got, they couldn't make the cut to be that top 1%. And
Yeah,
you got to sometimes take that because it's still good football.
it is. Yeah, and not every league is going to be the NFL.
The NFL. That's
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
we need a
Like these,
TNA and a AEW out there. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Giving them a little run for
you need an alternative, man, and that's
yeah.
what it is. And everyone says, "Oh God, it's so boring without football," and then there's football.
Yes,
Sit down,
yes.
shut up, and watch some football.
We got the girls in the Passion, the Pittsburgh Passion. They start in April. We have these two teams going through spring. I like it. I like it a lot, Mike, because that gets us to the draft, that gets us to free agency, and that gets us to camp even quicker.
Oh yeah,
So it's
yeah.
football 365, baby.
I'm loving it. I'm loving sports 365.
Yes. One other thing, Mike, from football. I just want to bring this up. I'm not bringing it up for debate. It was just a number that I came across yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, and you may have, but before Joe Burrow got hurt his rookie year, he
Yeah.
was 2-7-1. 2-7-1. So I'm just throwing that out there for the people that like to continue this debate beyond our show because, they're out there. I run into them on social media a lot, and they always try to pull me in, Mike. They try to pull me in.
See, I'm not taking the bait. I almost bit off. I almost started talking about it, but no. I'm just gonna
You're
pull it
good,
back.
brother. Also, Mike, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this at all. The Duquesne and Loyola Chicago game in Pittsburgh the other day,
Mm-hmm.
in the city, Duquesne. They played a game against Loyola. Did you happen to catch what happened in this game?
No, I did not.
During the game was hilariously, quote, not my word, halted. Mike, the game between Duquesne and Loyola Chicago was hilariously halted by the Uber Eats guy. The Uber Eats guy comes walking on the court. Like, you know how sometimes you have to kind of cut that corner of the court, like,
Yes.
like in high school games? No, there was a college game going on. Duquesne, Loyola, they're playing basketball. They're passing, shooting, running, all this stuff. And this guy with his bags of Uber Eats comes walking across the court. Like he takes that quarter court cut. And everyone's looking at him like, what are you doing? The referees have to stop the game, blow the whistles, and
5 stars, baby. He's getting 5-star review from me if that was my food.
Whoever
Nothing
that
would
was,
slow him down. I love it.
whoever
I love it, man.
that was a beast who ordered that Uber Eat meal.
You know what?
And had the guy deliver to him directly in that gym. I'd like to talk to that person.
Yeah, this guy is my absolute hero. This guy, he knows he's being timed on the delivery. He had to get through to the game. I'll go through all this BS, and he's like, I got like 10 seconds to get it here, and I'm getting it. He's like, I'm getting it to my guy, getting his food hot and fresh.
Mike, think of this. You got to find parking. You got to make your way into the stadium. You got to deal with the ticket people, deal with security, get through with this bag of food,
all this stuff.
And now he's on the court, Mike. He's on the court. The game's going on.
This guy is an American hero.
I love him. Only in Pittsburgh, baby.
He deserves the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I seen this. I thought this is great. This is great stuff here, man. You couldn't have written it any different. You couldn't have drew that up, scripted it any differently.
No, I love it. I love it. He is my hero.
Yes. Too funny. Like spring training in baseball. The games themselves, they start 1 month from yesterday. So pitchers and catchers will be in Bradenton soon. Not too long after that, the rest of the guys will be there getting ready to get this baseball season started. Mike, there's a little bit of optimism this year about this Pirates team. And, we talked plenty about what's going on and bringing Kutch back, probably for PR reasons.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You know what? They've been digging these players that are a little bit better than the players they had. And they put together, from what I'm gathering, Mike, people are saying that people might be surprised, not in the sense that we might be winning a World Series, not in the sense that we might be going back to the playoffs, but we might be surprised by the results that this team brings. and do hopefully a lot better than a 100 loss season, which we need it. They need it up there,
Hey,
man.
99 losses is still better than a 100 loss season, baby.
That's true. And I could see that nothing up there with his stupid smile on his face the whole time. We got 99 losses. That's even better than 100. Get the fuck out of here and Bob nothing.
Trademark.
That's right. Mike, and also one more thing. What's going on with the M&Ms? I don't know. I have no argument. What's going on with the M&Ms, and they're changing culture because Maya Rudolph, the actress from Saturday
What
Night
happened
Live.
is they changed like some colors and they changed some M&Ms and they had
Mhm.
more female M&Ms, and then people go, "Oh my god, they're attacking us, man! They're attacking this, they're attacking that." So M&Ms,
Who are the
like,
men that are saying this? Is what I
they're
want
like,
to
we
know.
were just having fun with making new characters.
Yes.
So guess what, guys? They're gone for now, and we're gonna have Maya Rudolph come in and be our spokeswoman.
Ugh.
Yeah, this
See
is
how
just
the
a
idiots
company
always
trying to
ruin
have
it for
fun with
everybody else.
characters, and then people going like, "Oh, you're attacking masculinity. Oh, you're attacking heterosexuality. Oh, you're just forcing this narrative." And they're like, "No, we just had we gave someone some boots. We made this one a little less sexy. We made this one. We're just
I like to
making
consider
M
myself
characters."
somewhat masculine, but that's why would anybody even get
Like
concerned
anyone
about
who
that?
gets
That's
offended by the candy, like get out of here. Get out of here. I saw this. I'm like, at first I saw like some guy was like ranting and raving in front of the M&M store. I thought it was a parody. No, this guy was like deeply offended by the change of this, and M&M's like, you know what? You all lost your mind. Exactly. They're like, you lost your mind. We're getting rid of them. Maya Rudolph coming in. I
why they
hate
keep
people.
why they keep bowing to these maniacs. You get one
I think
maniac.
they probably didn't want to have like these people. They're probably afraid they're going to show up and probably like shoot them. And they're like, you know what? We ain't dealing with that nonsense.
You get one maniac who has a different opinion, and the whole
Oh, it
system
wasn't just
gotta
one, man.
change.
It was like then all of his followers and then
Who?
all these other people picking up. And Eminem was like, you know what? Y'all lost your minds. We're just trying to have fun. Get out
I mean,
of
these
here.
guys are losers. Obviously, if this is what you're doing with your life, you're offended because M&Ms are different colors, and hey, dude.
Yeah, I
This
just
is
like, oh
that's
my,
really bad. That's really
yeah,
bad.
yeah. So it just kind of makes me want to go and buy more M&Ms. Like this is going to ruin my diet. So therefore, it affects me. So now I'm really mad.
I just can't even believe it. I can't believe this is where we are.
I hate people.
We're like so, but we're
This is why I just watch sports.
yeah.
This is why I analyze the draft. Then you get to read stuff like he's handsy. Like, whoa, hey now, hey,
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, he's a good penetrator. I can't wait for draft season to where I can read. He's a good penetrator.
Oh, you. A couple other things I do want to mention real quick before we get into our daily trivia, Mike. A couple things. There is a podcast that just started. I do want to mention it. I have a connection to one of the people who are on the show. The show is called Too Open-Minded. Too Open-Minded. Go check these guys out. They talk about a lot of different things, a lot of different subjects, and conspiracy theories, haunted houses, paranormal, just whatever you could think about. Go check them out. They are also on YouTube. They have a lot of different shorts out, things like that. Check it out. It's called Too Open-Minded. And finally, Mike, a couple other guys. Antoine, of course, from Hit 'em Hard. He's been getting a hold of me. We're going to try to get him in as soon as possible. They're getting ready to release some new music. So be looking forward to those guys being back on. And there's also a gentleman named Michael that's been in contact with us because he produced a Pittsburgh Steelers song, which is pretty good. I did get to hear a sample.
Yes, you played it for me the other day.
That's right. He wants to get on and talk about it a little bit. I think he said he's going to play a sample while he's on, but the actual song itself is not going to be released until right before the season kicks off. But we are going to have him in, talk about it, talk about the production and how we got the ideas, and like I said, we'll get to hear a sample on the air. So look forward. We got some really cool stuff coming up with those guys.
Coming back to our roots, baby.
Yes, interview time, baby. It's almost February. Mike, are you ready to do? Well, you know what? Go ahead and knock out the website, and then we'll hop on some trivia, huh?
2dumyinzers.com is the number 2 DUMYINZERS.com. You head over there. We have links to everything: YouTube, Spotify, Anchors, were our main platforms. What else do we have here? We have links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitters, emails, everything you need at 2dumyinzers.com. dumyinzers.com.
There you go, everybody. Go to 2dumyinzers.com. Check it out. A lot of good stuff over there. We're live all week long, Monday through Friday, right here from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. And also, everything that we do that particular day goes up that particular evening on Spotify into podcast form. If you just want to listen, you just have time to have it on in the car. Podcast form over on Spotify, 8 o'clock evening from that day. Mike, are you ready for some Super Bowl trivia?
Yeah. I am.
All right.
I'm 100% ready. Let's do this.
So we're only a couple weeks away from the Super Bowl. So we are all exclusive Super Bowl trivia right now. Maybe until we get the teams. Once we get the teams, Mike, we could change up a little bit next week and the week after.
That works.
All right. So here we go. You ready? Super Bowl trivia question of the day. Play at home. Here we go. How much was a ticket for Super Bowl I? How much was a ticket for Super Bowl?
They talk about this every flipping Super Bowl.
I and go.
They talk about this every Super Bowl because they act like inflation's not a thing. It's killing me. Every Super Bowl, I hear it.
All right, pencils down.
Five
question.
Let's go $10.
Question of the day: how much was tickets for the very first Super Bowl between who? The Packers and the Chiefs.
Packers and the Chiefs. Yes.
All right, Mike says $10. $10. 10. Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because I was leaning towards 5. I'm like, let's go with 10. Let's go with 10.
All right, let's lock you in on 10.
Lock it in.
All right, one more time for everybody at home. Here we go. How much was the tickets for Super Bowl I? At the time, this probably seemed like a lot of money. Obviously, now in 2023, it seems very minuscule. And this is probably the amount that you're going to buy a beer with if you're lucky at the Super Bowl. The answer, Mike says 10. The answer is... Oh, sorry. Close. I give you that. Don't be so offended by the buzzer, Mike, because you were very close. You're only $2 off. The ticket prices for Super Bowl I were $12. 2 5s, 2 1s, a 10, 2 1s, 12 1s, whatever way you put it, it was $12. And you know what? That's tough. I'm looking for a specific there's a gazillion picks you could have possibly had. So good job. I think that you was close enough, and hand grenades, horseshoes, whatever.
Yeah.
But Mike, $12 was what it cost you to get in to see the Packers, Bart Starr versus the Chiefs in Super Bowl I.
You know what? I'll take that. I'll take close.
Yeah. And like I said, probably cost you more money to get a beer at the Super Bowl nowadays.
Oh, probably now. Beer's probably like $15-20. Wouldn't surprise me.
That's
price gouging.
But hey, Mike, you got anything before we take off today, man?
Chris Letang, one of the best Penguins defensemen of all time, and if you don't like him, you're an idiot.
Absolutely. A lot of idiots, Mike, because the talking Chris Letang, I disagree with them. I think he's one of the best. And you know what? Tonight, if you like your Penguins and you're rooting for them and you want them to get to the playoffs, tonight's a good game to watch because you are playing the villains, the Washington Capitals, Ovi, and all them guys down there. So check it out. Mike, you know what, brother? We got picks tomorrow. We got to get ready for the championship weekend. So we're going to do all that tomorrow.
Yes.
But you know what? We do thank everybody for watching. I hope everyone continues so. And for Ryan, Mike, the